has said that she will do her icebreaker with us today. So Tess, take us away.
Icebreakers are tried and true to my heart. You'll know that if you come join us in the EE room or the EE Zoom room right now. So there are wrong answers, but this week it's going to be what is the best breakfast food? And I'm not down for whatever crazy answer you got. If you want to tell me cake is the best breakfast food, 10 out of 10, good choice. Mine is French toast because it's superior to everything else. Like it beats waffles and pancakes. Like there's always a big beef about that, but I don't believe in that. I'm like third choice, third party.
I don't know. That's hard. I love breakfast.
All right, we'll pass on Dr. Stringer while she figures it out.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to make fun of you.
How about blueberry pancakes? How about that?
All right, blueberry pancakes, solid, snaps. Just kidding.
I'm gonna amend that to chocolate chip pancakes.
Oh, okay.
I think if I remember correctly, it's the ones they do at Restless Oaks. They're nice and crispy around the edge.
Oh, okay.
All right, I like that. I can respect that. All right, Dr. McCaig, you're just next on the screen. So
Next on the screen.
Yeah.
So I'll give you my two breakfast. I alternate between two things. So I'm not gonna go with the pancakes. Okay. So I go between oatmeal and an egg white omelet with spinach in it. This is the healthy McCaig breakfast, but it's only two options. You go back and forth.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I like the almond, but oatmeal, how old are you?
I am approximately 66 years old.
Okay. Just curious.
He just looks that good. I'm 85.
All right, Dr. Gordon, you, what's your breakfast?
Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple here, right? Because like Dr. Stringer, I really like breakfast. But like, okay, so my go-to for a long time, and this is how juvenile I am, Cocoa Pebbles. Oh man, I'm gonna tell you something. Even better than Cocoa Krispies. All right. I mean, in terms of the full, pure chocolatey deep goodness, I'm gonna tell you something. And then and I will go back. The reason I said bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, really good biscuit. All right, good biscuit, because like half my family's from South Carolina, so you got to have a good biscuit. And then the bacon, and then so oh geez, that's good stuff. So we'll just stop right there.
All right, solid answer. Dr. Reese?
Well, what I actually have is a protein shake, but what I'm a confirmed Captain Crunch girl.
Oh, wow.
The Captain rocks. Yeah. He rocks. But
is it regular Captain Crunch or Captain Crunch berries? That's critical.
No, just plain old the Captain. None of this berries nonsense. No, not happening.
Yeah, and you didn't specify what go-to means, okay? Because go-to, I'm with Connie. It's a protein shake. That's what I normally have. What I'd rather have is chocolate chip pancakes.
What if I were 18 years old? Would I have? It's Captain Crunch.
Oh well, if we were giving dream breakfast, I would say ice cream cake. Ice cream cake
yeah.
all the way.
10 out of 10. Good answer. Iced coffee is also a breakfast. I think I would argue on that tier myself. All right, Dr. Burrows.
Well, I'm not a doctor yet, but I'll take it.
I didn't know, and I was like, let's just go over in case.
Well, I'll take the title. If you guys could just keep that going, I appreciate it. Thanks. I think probably like the like apple slices is usually my go-to. It's the versatility. You can go mobile with it, and it also is very friendly with toppings like peanut butter and caramel and stuff like that. So it's just a really good all around, and you can say it's healthy.
It's true.
The best place to eat breakfast is the Waffle Shop in State College, hands down. The best place in this county, in the next county, and the next county over.
It specifically has to be in State College. The Belfont one sucks. I'm not joking. Homegrown. Brittany, you're up.
Sorry, I'm on the I had to run downtown. I agree with Dr. Stringer, Waffle Shop.
All right.
What do
It's
you
just-
get at the
it's
waffle
just-
You
shop?
get there.
Oh God. It's like a waffle combo type of thing. I forget what exactly it's called, but it's like a waffle, bacon, and eggs. Filling and delicious all at the same time.
Oh my gosh. And it's not an expensive place to eat.
No, not at all. It's quite affordable.
Not expensive.
Good bang for your buck. All right, Christy.
I would have to say either French toast or chocolate chip pancakes.
A woman after my own heart. French toast. Round of applause for me. All right, Gabe.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add on to Dr. McCaig's egg white omelet with spinach, but this time I'm gonna add steak to it.
Oh, wow.
Right? Steak is a bougie add-on, but it is delicious.
Exactly. Also, if you grill some hash browns and put that on the side, boom, you got breakfast.
Okay. Hash browns are top tier. Hash browns from BK better than McDonald's hash brown. Fact. Feel free to argue with me.
Good to know.
I'm on the wall. All right, Cassie, you're up.
Alright, my go-to one would probably have to be plain old Cheerios. No, plain like that, it's fine.
Not like Honey Nut Cheerios?
Nope, plain.
0 out of 10 answer. There's one every time.
I have a second answer too, you know. My other one is when I got time, Nutella French toast. Best thing I've ever made.
French toast, as always.
Yes,
Round of applause.
but Nutella is better.
All right. Carrie, hit us with the facts.
So I don't like breakfast. I like breakfast foods. I just don't like eating it. So half the time I don't eat breakfast. But when I do, I usually eat a donut or like leftovers from last night's dinner. So I've had anything from like sloppy Joe to hot dogs for breakfast.
Okay, so I agree with you. A lot of people think I'm crazy on this, but I like eat Chinese food at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
I have respect for that. I also don't like cereal. Cereal is a weird concept to me, and I don't like it. I'd rather.
Yeah.
I would rather eat it dry. It's a weird.
I would say Chinese food is more of like a midnight snack than it is dinner, but honestly, Chinese food, you can have that for any kind of meal.
It's universal. But wait, well, my question is, what kind of a donut? That will make or break your answer.
Usually just like a glazed.
All right, I can't be mad at that. As much as I'd like to be. All right, Dalton.
All right, so I also don't really eat breakfast at all because I just don't like breakfast foods. But when I have to, it's always Special K with strawberries in it.
Oh,
That's just my way to go.
that's a good breakfast.
It is. Special K is surprisingly good. Like you wouldn't expect it to be because of its packaging, but
Yeah, that's not bad.
I think that's. Oh wait, did we get Tiana? I forget. She's at the end, and I can't remember.
Nope.
Tiana, then it's all you. I thought so.
All right, perfect breakfast day. I'm going to the Texas. I'm getting their Can't Mess because their cheese is insane. And if I'm really hungry, I'll get a Belgian waffle with strawberries and blueberries and whipped cream and a nice coffee.
Okay.
I think she wins.
Yeah. Best answer.
Okay.
I had the most time to think. So
It's cheating. No, I'm just kidding. I think that's everyone. Right? Speaking
Thank you so much, Tess. Let's give Tess a golf clap, please. Ladies and gentlemen, golf clap. Lovely. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much, Tess. And all right. So I just, one thing is I forget to turn off my Outlook when I'm in here. So I get that little notification that flies in from the left, and then I sort of like squirrel, and I get distracted. But anyway, I might have to turn that off regardless. All right. So let's do some quick faculty introductions. I don't think we need to really go too deep into whatever in terms of, but maybe what we can do is just say, a little bit of what we've been doing lately. So let's go ahead and start with Dr. McCaig.
Hello. So what I've been doing most recently is live streaming this and screen capping the participants for Matt and running this. But If you mean other than that, I teach the media production courses here, crossing my fingers that we're back face to face, right? So I can actually teach some of those in the fall. And I also am operating the Havencast with Cassie and Tristan. They're my regulars. It's a weekly video podcast, and we talk about 3 things. There are 3 random things that we come up right before the show, and then chat for about 20 minutes. So that's me. Hello.
All right. Thank you, Dr. McKay. Dr. Preen.
Well, I live on Zoom. I'm doing 3 sections of small group communication, and they're about to do their service projects. I've got one group who's hosting an Easter egg hunt with the YMCA in town, and we've got a park cleanup going on, some cards to St. Jude's, some boxes to overseas soldiers, all kinds of interesting things going on there. And then I've got a section, you want to talk about Zoom hell? How about a 3-hour class once a week with my Clearfield crowd intro? And then I've got an independent study with Ari Linder. And we're doing argumentation and debate with 2, which is fun. But we're having a grand time. And then I've got Gabe there for communication responsibility. So it's keeping me out of trouble.
Oh, Dr. Stringer.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm Dr. Stringer. I teach the journalism and the audio classes. I guess the most interesting thing we're doing this semester is taking on PR clients. I'm teaching the PR writing course, and the students are building fundraising packets to distribute to community service organizations in the community.
Perfect. All right, Dr. Reese.
Well, contrary to what you might have heard on the internet, I am not dead. I've been on sabbatical for a year, rewriting a book called Ready, Aim, Hired, which is about job search strategies. We're almost ready to pass it along to our proofer, Dr. Preen. And we have a contract with a publishing house and everything. We expect to have book in hand by the end of summer.
Oh, great.
Who's publishing?
Sorry?
Who's publishing?
They're called Palmetto Publishing.
All right. Probably not based in Maine, I'm guessing.
Don't think so.
All right. All right. Well, and I'm Dr. Gerton. I'm your chair. I'm teaching 2 sections of intro this semester, as well as a section of organizational. And I see some of you that I'm torturing here. But regardless, and my other job that I seem to be having is a lot of meetings about things like consolidation and some other things, and we'll get to that later on in the meeting. But regardless, I appreciate everyone being here, and I don't want to delay us much longer in terms of, because I do want to get to our speaker. And so what I want to do is just get an update real quick, like a 1-minute update on what's going on with the different student clubs. So let's go ahead, and is there anybody here from, I know there's somebody here from the Eagle Eye, who's going to present about the Eagle Eye in terms of give us a sit rep and what we can do.
I can do it.
Go for it.
I have the links. This time I'm prepared. All right, so the Eagle Eye is the on-campus newspaper. We cover campus events, do articles. You can go to that. I'm going to grab that link. We post weekly on Issue. It is, just a second. I'm sending that to the chat. That's the Issue. That's where we publish weekly. Publish every Friday, or we try to at least. And those are the stories we cover. We meet weekly on Zoom as well. That's Thursday at 6:30 actually. So
thank you for postponing the meeting. Whoever made that decision, Kiara, Cassie, thank you for postponing the meeting.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, let's go to WLHU. Is anybody here for that?
No, I thought I'd just have to step in. Sean was going to do it, but he had to work. So right now we're kind of at a slowdown with the radio, but we do have students that are radio inspired, making podcasts, doing shows on their own. It only takes a couple of people and a computer and a microphone, and you can go and do podcasts. So we've done podcasting last semester online and look forward to doing it again in the future in 317 next semester.
Perfect. All right. Let's move on to, and now actually, I think Dr. McCaig has given us a little bit of an update, but if there's anything that he or Cassie would like to say about Haven Cast or Haven Scope, sorry.
We have a lot of fun. Cassie, go ahead. Tell about how much fun you have.
I have lots of fun. I mean, this past time it was a little hectic because there was technical issues beforehand, but we always have a lot of fun. We get together and we just come up with ideas on the spot and roll with whatever happens, and it's really fun.
Okay.
All righty then. And what I will do is I will give you a real quick update on Lambda Pi Eta. That is our honors fraternity here, all right, or our honors organization. It is a national organization. And it is something that basically what we do is if you have a, if you have, I believe it is a 3.2 overall, then you can apply, all right? And I think it's a 3.5 in the major, but if you're thinking that you're in that area, all right, in terms of a GPA, then contact me, because for a small initiation fee, small application fee, you can get access to, you become a member of Lambda Pi Eta, and you can put that right on your resume. And it's an honors organization, so go ahead and do that. You get a membership pin, and you can you get a certificate, nice certificate, and then you will also get to wear on graduation. You can wear cords that go around your neck and over your graduation gown. And so it's just a nice way to get recognized for the work that you've been doing. I know some of you that are right here, tonight could qualify for that. You need 60 credits. So if you're a sophomore right now, you would be able to qualify at the end of the semester. And then we would have an initiation ceremony in the fall, because we regularly do that. And but like I said, if you're interested in that, shoot me an email, let me know, and we'll look over the we'll look over your GPA and so forth, and make sure you meet the requirements, and we'll get you put in.
Dr. Garten.
Yes.
How do I access getting those cords for graduation?
Shoot me an email. Okay, and I'll set you up with the website, and usually what I do is I order them in. But we can see if we can't get them shipped directly to you or whatever, because of the craziness.
Yeah,
are you back around campus, madam?
Yeah, I live
So,
30
yeah.
minutes. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. So we can just get them even shipped to my office, and then we'll get them to you.
Great, thank you.
Yep. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead. I believe we are at the point now where we can get to our speaker, and that would be Mr. Ben Burrows. And it is an absolute delight to have him here. He reached out, I believe it was to Dr. Reese, correct? And they struck up a conversation, and Ben said, "Hey, I'd really like to come back and share my experience and share some of my knowledge about being in the field of journalism, how much it's changed over the past 10 years." And he's done a lot with social media, digital media during that period of time. And so one of the things that we really enjoy is when our alums come back and they really do want to give back. And so this is a chance for you guys to listen to Ben, soak up some of his experience, and also certainly if he's willing, and I think Ben would be, to possibly reach out and ping him maybe with some questions and so forth that you might have about the industry after he's done talking tonight. So I'm going to shut up and let Ben get after it. So, Mr. Ben Burrows.
Thanks, Dr. Girton. Obviously, like if I start to go a little long, just flag me down and I'll shut up. But yeah, so a little bit about me. I graduated from Lock Haven back in 2013, but my newspaper career actually started in 2010, between my freshman and sophomore year. It actually got started through, I don't know if you guys still have it. It was like the externship program, where it was like a 10-day experience where they sort of just placed you with something similar to like an internship. And it was basically to make sure that your career wasn't going to be a disaster and you were picking the right spot, and you weren't, in the wrong degree and stuff like that. And so I actually got placed right down the road at the Sun Gazette in Williamsport. That's my hometown newspaper. So that ended up being pretty good. It sort of turned out that I wasn't making a huge mistake, and I guess I sort of like journalism because I'm still in it, 10 years later. During that time, I did pretty much just like some grunt work, answered phones, put together box scores and stuff. And at the time, I was a terrible writer. I had no idea what I was doing. I wrote a couple stories and they were unfit for publication, and so I had to sort of work my way up from being atrocious to actually being published. And I turned that externship into some stringing. They decided to send me to like random softball games and stuff like that, and paid me $25 to be out there for 5 hours. And then I turned that into a part-time job. And between my freshman and sophomore year at Lock Haven, I got hired part-time by the Sun Gazette and worked there for 3 years until I graduated. And so by the time I left LHU, I had, like 100 bylines at the local newspaper. Right after that, I immediately went and got my master's at Syracuse. It was something that I wouldn't recommend getting a master's for everybody, but I've sort of wanted to be a leader in the newsroom. I've thought about getting involved with academia and maybe teaching at some point. And so I really wanted to get that out of the way. And so I immediately went to Syracuse. I sort of took the same path where I immediately got a part-time job at the newspaper there, the Post-Standard, where I actually ended up working for 4.5 years later on. But I really made sure that I was doing a whole bunch of activities on campus. I got a part-time job there within like a month of getting to campus. One of my professors was actually the high school sports editor, so he pretty quickly hired me, and then he ended up being great for networking later on. He actually is the guy that made the phone calls that got me my first full-time job, because I put that work in. And so by the time I was 22, I had 2 degrees, 4 years of experience, at least in part-time, with 2 different newspapers. And then I had a bunch of references, which ended up being super helpful. That paid off really quickly. I got my first full-time job at the Harrisburg Patriot News. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning newspaper down in Harrisburg. I actually joined the digital operations team there first, and sort of had a hand in a whole bunch of different things, from website production to social media. I was one of the big members on the sports staff, so we did a lot of coverage of Penn State football. And then after about a year, I moved back to the Post-Standard, moved back up to Syracuse, where we just get crushed by snow relentlessly. It's really beautiful if you don't like going anywhere ever. And so I worked there for about 4.5 years. And then now I'm actually starting a new job on Monday. I can't talk about it quite yet, but all the contracts are signed, and I'm getting, my equipment mailed to me tomorrow. And so I'll be able to share some more stuff on that soon. But that's sort of where I'm at now.
Is it writing?
Yes, it is. It is still in journalism. It is still in sports. And it's more sports business related. Okay. This time around. When I was at the Post-Standard, I covered Syracuse football, basketball, and recruiting. So you end up going to a lot of games. You have to talk to coaches. You do a lot of, deal with breaking news, even with recruiting. I was having to try to track down, 15-year-old high school kids that might decide to go to Syracuse at one point, and try to, get information out of them. You end up having to talk to their parents and stuff like that. And so end up soon sort of doing a whole bunch of different stuff there. And so I suppose I was trying to think of like, tips to sort of give you guys, and there's really no like secret sauce to being a journalist for so long. Some of it is like luck, not getting laid off and stuff like that is part of it. And but there's no secret tip to really get in the industry and stick in the industry. But there are sort of a few sort of pillars that I think are valuable. The first one that I try to narrow it down to 3. Again, if I start to ramble, just wave me down, Dr. Gurton, and I'll shut up. You guys can move on. The first thing that I would recommend is be versatile. A lot of people think that being a journalist is just writing and reporting, but those in themselves are just 2 different skills. You can be a great writer and a crap reporter, or vice versa. Those are 2 different things in general. And then there's just so much more to journalism now. Even if you just want to be, say, like a print reporter, you're going to have to take video. You're going to have to shoot photos. You're going to have to deal with social media. If you work in sports like I did, there's a chance that you're going to have to make appearances on the radio. So having some type of radio experience is good. If you're more handsome than I am, they might put you on TV. So having TV experience is really good as well. And so being a great journalist is just more than writing stories. And it's really important that you guys build those skills up now. And, places like the Eagle Eye are a great opportunity to do that. I know like campus media isn't sort of like the most glamorous thing that people think about, but they're extremely valuable, because I know a lot of kids will say like, man, I have to do everything when I'm working at a small newspaper, but your employers are going to look at that as like, hey, they actually did everything. And so that ends up being so valuable. Every single interview that I've ever had, people have brought up my digital background, my social media background. They brought up the fact that I'm super versatile, and that's the most sort of, attractive attribute to my background more than anything. And so I think like the second thing that I want to point out is to think outside the box. When I first got into journalism, I said, I'm going to be a sports reporter. I'm not going to be interested in news. I would, rather give up the industry than do anything other than covering sports. And that was stupid. So I want you guys to like rethink about what it means to be a journalist, because there are so many different things that you can do. Even just outside of legacy media, like obviously you guys have, TV, radio, those guys are all journalists. And then even just at a traditional newspaper, you have writers, you have editors, you have graphic designers, social media producers, the analytics staff, the people that actually lay out the newspaper. Those are all journalists. And if you're willing to develop those, those versatile skills at the beginning, then all of those avenues within journalism are open to you. Like my first ever job that got me to covering Penn State was joining the digital operations staff at the Patriot News. They liked that I had a whole bunch of newspaper experience, but my DigOps stuff was the most important thing to them. And I got that from campus media when I was at Syracuse. I was a news editor for one of the online publications, and that ended up being the most attractive thing for people. And so that ended up being my avenue into getting a full-time role. And then I sort of bided my time and waited for the right opportunity, because they may not always be available to you right away. And so if you're versatile and you're open to basically, the concept of like doing great journalism is more important than the actual, subject matter, then you'll be able to, I think, find your way a little bit easier. And then the final thing that I sort of want you guys to take away from this is turning like small opportunities into bigger opportunities. A lot of people think that they're going to go from college to covering politics for like the New York Times or something like that. And there will be a handful of people that end up doing that, but largely, myself included, you're going to have to take a lot of small steps. You're going to have to turn one small thing into the next thing. And I think that starts right there on campus. You turn campus opportunities into internships, and then internships turn into full-time jobs, and a decent full-time job then turns into a great full-time job. You know, you sort of build those opportunities up slowly. And being involved on campus is sort of where that stuff starts. If you look at my career path, for example, you know, the externship program at Lock Haven got me my first part-time job. And then my part-time job built up sort of the experience that I needed to get the references to get into Syracuse. Those letters of recommendations came from my old sports editor at the Sun Gazette. And then I turned Syracuse into another part-time job. And then my boss at my first part-time job got me my first full-time job. And then eventually when I got laid off there, you know, the relationships that I built up for my first full-time job turned into my second one. And so you sort of have to think of it as like just a stepping stone, and all of that stuff starts when you're here on campus. I know a lot of people that I went to Lock Haven with that weren't involved in campus stuff because they thought that their diploma was what was going to matter. And I've never been asked to show anybody my diploma. No one has ever asked me for my GPA. It has all been, what clips do you have? You know, what stories have you written about? You know, what sources have you built up? You know, give us examples of you breaking news. You know, how did you go about that? You know, what were the sources that you used? Stuff like that. And so that hard work, you know, builds up those connections within the industry, and that sort of ends up being the most important thing that you need is those connections. And again, like I know it isn't glamorous, but I promise if you guys put in the work early, it ends up paying dividends. You know, on Monday, I basically get to start my dream job, you know, covering like sports business stuff. And that all started with me putting in this work, you know, way back in 2010 and building up those relationships, putting in the grunt work. You know, I gave up Friday night parties. Well, not entirely, but you know, I covered high school football games, you know, down the road on Friday nights, and then quickly drove back to campus, and then that's just inconvenient. But you know, there are so many opportunities for you guys. You know, you have the newspaper, you have the TV station, you have the radio station. There's 3 really good newspapers within an hour of campus. You know, the sports editor at the Sun Gazette right down the road, if you're interested in sports, he's the Lock Haven grad. You know, the old sports editor from the Lock Haven Express, you know, he was a Bloomsburg grad. All these people would love to work with you guys. And that's really sort of how you get started. And I just can't recommend enough, you know, putting in those little steps and working forward, and it's going to be a long process, but if you don't give up, eventually it'll work out. You know, by the end of it, you know, I've done so many extracurricular things, and those ended up being what mattered the most. It was never about, you know, what my GPA ended up being. It was really good, but nobody ever asked me about it. So it just really didn't matter that much. You know, I put in the work outside of class, and that's what ended up paying off. That's what people noticed. And that's sort of what has gotten me here today. And that's it. You guys didn't have to cut me off. I ran out of stuff to talk about.
Never a problem. That's odd that it's usually never a problem for a communication major to keep talking. So I appreciate that, Ben. Well done. Dr. Reese, it sounds like you had something you want to say.
Just that students will often say to me, especially in the capstone class, well, everybody wants to hire somebody with 3 to 5 years experience. How am I supposed to get that if nobody will hire me? I'm just going to say to them from now on, be Ben Burrows. Because that's how. You know, don't wait till you got that diploma, which he's right. Nobody's ever going to ask you to see. Don't wait. Start working in your field now.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is, you know, it's the Sun Gazette, the Express, the Center Daily Times. They're always going to be looking for freelance opportunities, even if it's just putting together a few clips to sort of put you over the top. Again, like those few clips here on campus that you might be able to get with them, that's going to turn into an internship. And then that internship is going to potentially create the relationships that you need to get that full-time job. You know, a simple way to, and it doesn't even have to be in this specific area. You know, you can look at, say, like the Lock Haven basketball team. Every one of those kids on that basketball team that probably moved away from home to play basketball in Lock Haven, they have hometown newspapers. reach out to those newspapers. They would probably love to have a local story about one of their former top athletes. And so there's so many opportunities to get stuff like that, that it's just free, and it's way more than what people think. And there's so much to go around that you're probably rarely going to run into a situation where too many people are asking to get involved. I guarantee those small town newspapers would love to have help from journalism students. I promise they will.
Ben, it sounds like you're making a distinction between opportunities that are there that people have to find and making your own opportunities. Can you talk about that? Like going out and making an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, so again, like it ends up being like the connections are the things that matter so much. If I never, so my first part-time job at the Sun Gazette, that didn't come to me. I had to force that. And I used the externship program here again to get my foot in the door. And I was terrible. I put the time in, and they didn't want to hire me part-time at first. I was committed and said, okay, my old sports editor, his name was also Ben Burgandy. I actually think he may be a Lock Haven grad now too. I think he got his master's.
He did.
He flat out was like, Ben, you kind of suck. And I was like, that hurts my feelings, but I'm willing to work and try to move forward. And so, they may not even want to give you opportunities, but the way that I look at it is I put in so much extracurricular work that I made my resume like undeniable. The effort that I put in was going to be undeniable. There was going to be no question about whether or not I was going to be able to perform that job. And those opportunities don't just come to you. You have to seek those out. You have to actually find them. Campus media will come to you, but those other opportunities outside that can be just as, if not more valuable, those things you have to find on your own.
How much were your speech?
Okay, I'm sorry. Wait a second. Now we got students here. I know we got our faculty are so intellectually curious, but I do want to give the students a chance to pipe in because I know Gabe's had his hand up, and I think Britt might have had something to say. So go ahead, Gabe.
Now, honestly, like what Ben is saying is actually really true because when I first started out with video editing, digital media, I had no idea what I was doing. But I started with the Lock Haven football team, just filming their practices for free. And then Dr. Atkins, who used to be at Lock Haven, basically introduced me to the club. And then COVID hit. And then I just started working with my local church, just creating basically sermon videos for social media. And then that led to Dr. McCaig and all the different projects that I've done with him. And basically what I'm doing right now is I'm working with another church and we're live streaming the sermons as well. So what Ben's saying is actually pretty true, is that I'm basically going out there, creating my own opportunities, and some doors are going to shut on me, some doors are going to open on me, but I'm at least going to take that initiative and continue to push forward with what I want to do with video editing. I'm trying to work out some internship this summer, but if that doesn't work out, then I'm going to continue just going out to businesses in my community and continue to create video content to build up my portfolio. So everything that Ben, you're saying, man, that's true for what I'm trying to do.
Britt.
Now, Ben, you just I work in sports now, so this is all like piquing my interest in every way possible. So I'm just giddy. I don't really have anything to say. This is ultimately what I want to do. So I think definitely you and I need to have a separate conversation. So I'll just leave it at that.
Absolutely. We can connect after this. That's fine.
Okay.
Tell you what, Ben, if you have an email you want to throw in the chat or something along those lines, or even just, if there's somewhere, if you want to shoot me your email, if you don't want to put it in the chat or whatever, and something along those lines where if a student has, well, boom, right there it is. All right. So he put it in the chat there for you. So now you all have it. And, obviously an excellent resource. So any other students that have comments, questions?
Is there a class? I'm sorry, I have a question. I guess I should
Just rock and roll, Tess.
Okay. Is there a class or a course or a certain field area you wish you had studied at the university to help round out your knowledge of the world? like marketing or sociology or something?
I probably just wish I would have taken like more sort of like marketing courses, I suppose. Like I took the Marketing 100 course, but I think it's valuable to just understand how to write and edit from all kinds of different angles. And then in general, like for more of like a communication standpoint, I just wish I would have been more involved with like radio and TV. It ended up being something that I got more involved with at Syracuse. You know, I did like I took I think it was like broadcast play-by-play. Man, I'm terrible at that, like unbelievably bad. But those are just like skills that I didn't think that I was going to need. I didn't think that I was ever going to need to you know, for those of you that are interested in sports, like you're going to have to go on the radio, and if you don't want to sound stupid like I did for years, you know, getting some of that experience under your belt, because you know the thing about radio is like being able to sit there and come up with stuff off the top of your head and have like good cadence and all of that stuff, and that's just something that I didn't know about. So I really wish I would have done more with, well, anything with TV. I think I took one radio course and didn't get super involved with it, but you know, I would just recommend at least dip your toe in everything that is available within the department. I think I took Marketing 100. I think I took Advertising 100. But at least get that intro class for pretty much everything available to you, because at the end of the day, even if it's just like one little thing that you took from that course that helps you down the line, that could end up being a lot more important than you think.
I've had like 4 alumni contact me through the years and tell me that the faculty members should tell students to take marketing classes.
Yeah, I agree.
Other questions or comments for Ben? Dr. Preen, do you want to give your other one now that I've interrupted you? Or
No. I was just going to ask how much your speech communication skills have helped your writing pursuits.
Right. So I think in general, I think it helps a lot more than what people think, because a tip that I give for people that don't write super well is sort of, you know, write as though you were talking, but you were also educated. And so part of that I think has helped is when you sort of get beyond the base level of writing to the highest levels of writing, part of that comes with, you know, creating the cadence. You know, you can create rhythm with your writing to push people through their stories. And if you're capable of doing that through your own speech and understanding that not all sentences are created equal, and you may be saying the same thing, you might be saying like the same facts or statements, but the way that you're communicating them can be very, very different. Those types of things actually end up matter. And I think that's what could actually take you from being an average writer to being a very good one. That could be the difference between you being a reporter and being a columnist or something like that. You know, I think, and you know, the cadences and rhythms are something that I've tried to experiment with over the years in my own writing. I think I've gotten better at it, but you know, if you can sort of push people and pull people through your stories in a way, then it ends up being like an enjoyable, like an actual enjoyable read. And I can tell you, if you can't speak that way and have that cadence and that rhythm, then you're probably not going to get it in your writing either.
Ben, I've got one question, and then I think we'll go ahead and we will relieve you of your duties from having to be grilled here. You mentioned did you get an MA from Syracuse?
I did.
Okay, so how, what would you suggest in terms of the timing of that? Do you suggest that students, that they move right into an MA after the undergraduate? Do you suggest they get 2 or 3 years under their belt of experience before they go into a graduate? Do you suggest it for everyone, or what? I'm curious in terms of what you think about the
So
value and the timing of that degree.
yeah, so in general, I would say that a master's is definitely not for everyone. Again, I specifically did it because a lot of, through I was lucky enough through my professional experience at the Sun Gazette to realize that a lot of leaders in newsrooms have multiple degrees. And so I want to be an editor. I've always wanted to be a high level editor within a newspaper. And then also the academic aspect of it. One, I love learning, but a goal of mine is to eventually go back and teach in some aspect. And so I thought continuing my education was just smart. But it wasn't like a slam dunk decision for me either. I've only ever applied to 2 schools, Lock Haven and Syracuse. I got into both, and I told myself when I was getting ready to leave Lock Haven, I sat down, I had the grades, I had the experience, and I told myself, okay, I'm going to search for the best school of journalism for a master's degree in the world. And I determined through my own research that I thought Syracuse was the best fit. And I said, if I'm not going to get into Syracuse, I'm not going to go anywhere. And I will just find a job straight out of college. And if you're thinking about getting a master's, then if you have goals of getting into academia, if you have goals that revolve around you being in leadership, then I would think that it's something that you should seriously consider doing. I think you can also use that to sort of come up, to sort of fill in gaps in your own skill set. When I was looking at master's degrees, I looked at like Columbia, which was heavily writing focused. And I thought that I got here at Lock Haven, so I didn't want to be redundant. Syracuse was heavy digitally focused. And I was like, I didn't do enough of that here at Lock Haven. These are ways for me to cover up some of these gaps. But if you have some of those goals, I would seriously consider doing it. If you just want to be a reporter, which is perfectly fine, I would probably go into the workforce first and make sure that you're doing what you enjoy doing. Those of us that were getting our masters, it was typically people like myself that wanted to go into leadership or academia, or it was people making a career change. They already had a degree in biology or history or something and decided they wanted to be a journalist. And so all of you folks are already in journalism and in communication, so that wouldn't be you guys. But in terms of if you think that's the good fit for you, if you think you can afford it, I couldn't afford it. So I'm super poor now, but I did it anyway. And in terms if you determine that that's a smart choice for you, I would seriously consider doing it right away. You go right from college to adding another year or a year and a half or 2 years. I think would be much easier than working for 4 or 5 years and then trying to come back. Because being a student is sort of a skill, and it's possible to become a bad student, in that gap. So if you think it's the right solution for you, I would seriously consider just doing it right away.
Ben, I remember when you came to me and said that you were going to go to Syracuse, and I was like, are you sure you want to apply there? You said, yeah. You were very determined, as I recall, that this was what you were going to do. So, who was I to discourage? But I'm going to tell you, I was praying. I was like, boy, Lord, get him in there, because he's decided that this is what he wanted to do. And I wasn't sure about that. That I didn't know, I guess, at the time that you wanted to go into had the idea of possibly going to academia. But I knew you really liked sports writing and you really wanted to go to Syracuse. And I remember you saying about not applying anything else. So, when you put your mind to something, you can get it done, not just you specifically, but generally. Once you put your mind and decide, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do what it takes to get there, you often make it. So congratulations on doing all of that you said you were going to do. Congratulations. I do remember very distinctively.
I appreciate it. It took a lot of time and thought and putting research into picking the right university. That was a real slog. It took me a really long time to to come to the conclusion that that was going to be the right choice for me. And I, several years later, I do think it was the right choice, but all schools are not created equal. You have to find the right fit. And over the last, when I was in school, I said Lock Haven was the right fit. This is the only place I want to go. And I said afterwards, Syracuse is the right fit. This is the only place I'm going to go.
Was Brad Gorham there when you were there?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give Ben Burrows a golf clap. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much, sir. Your significant check is never coming.
I was really banking on that.
Yeah, well, there you go. So keep hoping. Anyway, no, we really appreciate it, Ben, so much. And again, you're one of those alums that stays in our minds, and we really appreciate that you're here. Yeah, so really delighted to have you here. Yeah. So all right. So and what I will do is, and Ben, you are welcome to stay around if you would like. If you are starving and would like some dinner, you may disappear, but regardless, you're welcome to stick around. What I'm going to move on to now is I'm going to just quickly talk to you about advising. Fall semester is coming, and so it's what I've never watched the show, but I guess it's the whole Game of Thrones thing, right? Winter is coming. Anyway, fall semester is coming, and so get in front of your advisor. Get your schedule together. It doesn't make sense to wait on this. Get in front of them. Get your schedule for fall planned out, and and get your yellow brick road. Okay, get that pulled together. So anyway, so make sure that happens, and so then let me go ahead and open it up right now to the last part, and that is your questions and your concerns. And so this is a chance for you guys to, and if you don't want to ask it, like, you can put it in the chat. That's just fine. If Dr. McCabe will monitor that chat, if there's a question or a concern, I will talk to you about something that I know is possibly on your